La Llorona, the Bunny Man, sewer gators. Urban legends like these have haunted many despite their surreal descriptions. But the children of the early 2000s to the early 2010s grew up with nightmares that weren't told to them, but instead were within their screens. Virtual worlds like Club Penguin, Roblox, Animal Jam, and Webkinz were all hubs for kids to have fun, interact with others, and just find a way to escape from the outside world. Yet, all might not be as innocent as initially thought. These games sometimes had figures of fear that traumatized many, including myself. F-Man122, the Webkinz killer, John Doe, and much, much more. Were they real? Where did they come from? Why did they scare us so much? It's time we find the answers to all those questions. Webkinz was a game that released in 2005 by the company Gasters, who made the stuffed animals of the same name. These stuffed animals would have digital counterparts to explore the lobby, be customized, and taken care of, and also get involved in various mini-games. All seems nice and innocent, right? Well, actually, Webkinz is home to one of the most notorious myths in gaming, the Webkinz killer. Our story begins in 2007, where stories of this myth were starting to emerge, though it was always being told differently. Some stories spoke of the Webkinz killer being in the form of an evil penguin with red eyes that would lay waste to a user's Webkinz, displaying blood and guts, before eventually destroying the user's computer. Other descriptions of the Webkinz killer included a chihuahua or a bear holding a knife. One common scenario regarding the Webkinz killer revolves around different colored boxes. Some stories of the box included a bomb that, when clicked, would end up exploding the Webkinz. Others were described in the following emails. My children came home from school today and all the talk in 1st and 2nd grade was of some kind of Webkinz malware. A black, red, or yellow box appears in your Webkinz world. If you click on the black box, a Neopet pops out with a knife and chops off your Webkinz's head off. The red box does the same thing. If you click on a yellow box, you lose your Webkinz's possessions and money. It sounds like a legend to me, but little kids are telling my kids, this happened to me, not sure what to think. The Webkinz virus thing is totally true. It happened to half of my friends on Webkinz. There's either some kind of gift on the floor or some kind of bomby thingy. It pops out like a gift. Then Dr. Quack or Miss Birdie pops up. Lights go out, red eyes come. It makes slashing noises on your computer. And then the lights turn on and your Webkinz are dead on the floor with blood on them. You probably think that Webkinz people would never do that. But you are right, but Neopets would. Why? Because they got angry that everyone went on Webkinz, and nobody went on Neopets anymore. So they hacked into Webkinz and put some kind of virus. It is pretty scary for kids, so be careful with what you do with your Webkinz, and don't go to your room. Like seen in the email shown earlier, the two biggest culprits behind who the Webkinz killer could be were Miss Birdie and Dr. Quack, but sometimes Miss Tabby would be thrown into the mix. The NPCs of Webkinz had an uncanny mix between looking animal-like and human, and it didn't help that they were always staring right into your soul. It's only right, rumors would spread about these two having something sinister to hide. Miss Tabby, who was the employment office operator, had the least popular of the rumors, with accounts stating that she'd shoot your Webkinz. Miss Birdie was the NPC that ran the adoption center for you to adopt Webkinz. She seemed all sweet and innocent, but the Webkinz killer rumors would say otherwise. Sometimes she'd pop out of the red box to kill your Webkinz. Other times, she'd climb through the window and stab the Webkinz. However, Dr. Quack would really be the main suspect behind the Webkinz killer myth. Dr. Quack, if it wasn't obvious from his appearance and title, was the main medic of the Webkinz world. Webkinz were capable of being sick, and if they were, Dr. Quack's office was the place to take them. Many accounts talked of an Easter egg where if the poster in his office was clicked 37 times, Dr. Quack would pull out a chainsaw and murder your Webkinz. This account was of course followed by the iconic image of Dr. Quack, looking evil, holding a chainsaw with an orange cat facing its inevitable death. The Dr. Quack rumors don't end there, as there would also be accounts of Dr. Quack selling pills for 100 Kinz cash that could kill your Webkinz. I guess fentanyl is canon to Webkinz lore. As to where the myth originated from, nobody really knows, but there are theories that it could have been from angered employees, oppositions from Club Penguin and Neopets, which were other virtual world games, or just a guy who doesn't like Webkinz. What also helped spread this myth were the different videos covering this rumor, which was how I first learned of the myth when I was a lot younger. These videos were always edited into Windows Movie Maker, having screens of text telling the story while also having creepy music and images that came from a website titled creepywebkinz.pixo.com. This website has since been lost to time, but it contains several different graphic edits of Webkinz pets. Pictures like these would scar the minds of many innocent children who just wanted to watch YouTube videos of their favorite game. It was more than just the fact that kids were looking at gore of cute cartoon animals. It was that they were looking at gore of a cute cartoon animal they treated as if it was a real pet. A pet that was given as a gift, cared for, customized, and had milk drank out of and slammed into a wall. A rumor like this spreading instilled the fear that a kid may lose something they cared about. It wouldn't take long for Gans to notice, as they eventually put their own statement out. Concerned about a rumor? Many people have been writing in, asking about a rumor that is going around. The rumor is about something in the Webkinz world hurting Webkinz pets. The most important thing to know is that this rumor is not true at all. Nothing in Webkinz world would ever hurt your Webkinz pet. Everyone at Webkinz World headquarters works really hard to make Webkinz World a safe, happy, and fun place to play. We want you and your Webkinz pets to have a great time playing on the site. Please make sure to tell your friends that their pets are safe and the rumor is not true. Remember that we would never allow anything to hurt your Webkinz pets. This might have seemed like the end of the Webkinz killer rumor until you remember Dr. Quack mysteriously retired on March 3rd, 2015, and decided to run for mayor in 2016. What could he be hiding? Now, Club Penguin is a game that needs no introduction. When it comes to online kids games, it's probably the first thing you think of, and just like the rest of this list, it was no stranger to urban legends of its own. There were ones like Rockhopper's Island, the Rainbow Puffle, and the Ninjas, but really the one we all think of is the tipping of the iceberg. The iceberg was a floating chunk of ice that was northeast of the map. There really wasn't much on the iceberg besides the submarine game, but for many years people have speculated the iceberg could be tipped if enough people danced on the iceberg with the hard hat item, which had a special animation featuring a jackhammer. If the iceberg tipped, you either got a large reward of in-game currency or a ban. The myth itself, or any of Club Penguin's myths, weren't particularly scary, but it was more so the videos about them that freaked me out. From around 2007 and onwards, before the game's end, there would be plenty of fake videos and tutorials showcasing the iceberg being tipped. This, of course, was not true for a while. Old Club Penguin videos were always very unsettling to me when I was younger, and I can't pinpoint it to why. Maybe it was the lack of sound besides the 009 Dreamscape music. Even now, the feeling I get when I look at fake Club Penguin footage is the same feeling I get when looking at things like liminal spaces or analog horror warning screens. That feeling of nostalgia combined with the feeling of uneasiness. It's like I stepped into fragments of a broken timeline. What really scared me when I was a kid was a video titled How to Tip the Iceberg by a user named Chemical Romance 1313. In this video, rather than use the jackhammer to tip the iceberg, the user instead uses an app called Desktop Destroyer, which was an app that turned your mouse cursor into various destructive weapons. There wasn't any audio to the video, and in general I get creeped out by silent things. Combine that with the cartoony violence, you get something that absolutely terrified the living shit out of me as a kid when it really shouldn't have. Club Penguin did take note of the urban legend, hiding Easter eggs like the iceberg being tipped in paintings, and the rumor being mentioned in the Ask Antarctic section of the Club Penguin Times. There was even an achievement that could be earned if 30 penguins danced on the iceberg with hard hats. Eventually, in the game's final days before shutting down, the iceberg could eventually be tipped if 5 players had blue penguins, blue puffles, and danced with the hard hat. Once the iceberg tipped, there would be a large dance floor, a bin of free iceberg tipper hats, and a plaque that said, "Together we can build an island, create a community, and even tip an iceberg. Waddle on." After many years, the iceberg urban legend eventually came to a wholesome conclusion, alongside the game itself. Now, what Battlefield is to Call of Duty is what Animal Jam is to Club Penguin. But for those of you unaware, Animal Jam is an online virtual world where you could play as many different animals. However, the main thing that split Animal Jam from other virtual worlds was the value of certain items and the use of trading. Some people traded knives in CSGO, or hats in Team Fortress 2, but for me, it was fox hats and spiked collars. Animal Jam players would go out of their way to get the rarest items and make their character look as fashionable as possible. The economy of rare items also meant the appearance of scammers, but also myths surrounding hackers. These hackers could simply take away the cosmetics that jammers were so proud of, which added a lot to their notoriety. To anyone who grew up playing Animal Jam, the first name that pops up in their heads is none other than Fman122. This rumor started to pop around 2012 or 2013. Fman122 was rumored to be a hacker that would send mail or jamagrams to players and hack their accounts through there. The Animal Jam developers would deny this, talking about how it's impossible to hack through jamagrams, though some believed that this was just damage control. Fman122 had a very easy avatar to mimic, as he didn't have any cosmetics on and only relied on the default colors. So it was very easy for people to pose as F-Man, and there would also be videos talking about the return of Fman122. I actually saw one of these lookalikes many years ago. I was in the Crystal Sands part of the map when I suddenly see this wolf who looked just like Fman122. He was completely silent, and the people around him were freaking the fuck out. I was pretty shaken up, as I didn't want to lose my account of rare items. Yet at the same time, I actually wanted this man to be F-Man. It would have been a great story to tell my grandchildren, but of course, this wasn't him. Things such as jamagram glitches, username exploits, and email pranks started to become leads towards F-Man's existence. F-Man would also be rumored to be linked with another infamous Animal Jam hacker named Wretched Jungle, who was supposedly responsible for the hacking of many Animal Jam content creators. Although Wretched Jungle is more so linked to an Animal Jam hacking group called Mighty Squad, F-Man also developed a fanbase of his own, with several different fan art and ships being made of him. He even made it onto someone's Hear Me Out cake. For the most part, I only believed in Fman122 until 2015, which was when I stopped playing the game in general. It just seemed like a myth I grew out of believing. That was until I saw a video by a user named KekAJ titled, "What Really Happened to Fman122 After Animal Jam? The Truth." There's no way to really confirm if anything in the video is true, but if it is, then the Fman122 rabbit hole is a lot deeper than we think, and it genuinely has a sad end to it. Fman122 was ran by an Animal Jam user who also had an account named Abracadabra Alakazam, and they were a competent hacker that would gain access to other people's accounts and transfer their items into theirs. The most common theory as to how he hacked was through password cracking. It was discovered by a close friend of Fman122 that he unfortunately passed away. His legacy lives on in the form of another game called web phishing, where a hacker seems to have taken on the mantle to continue the F-Man havoc. Animal Jam had another urban legend in the form of Lost Jammer. The story went that if you did a specific ritual involving home items, you'd summon the Lost Jammer. Its appearance was one that could definitely scare off some kids. Once summoned, he'd hack into your Animal Jam account. This myth was uploaded all over Animal Jam YouTube, with people staging summonings and claiming to be hacked. But yet again, Lost Jammer was simply a myth. Even as a kid, it was pretty obvious that those videos were fake. I just felt the need to bring it up because it was a really wacky myth, and it's largely forgotten. Animal Jam did acknowledge this myth, and added Lost Jammer in some Halloween promotional material. So hey, I guess he's not really a myth after all. Everyone and their mother plays Roblox, and if they don't, they probably played it at some point. Throughout Roblox's history, there have been plenty of myths regarding hackers that scared users. There's so much you could potentially lose to these hackers, including progress in games, and money spent on Robux. When it comes to Roblox hacker myths, one of the first that comes up is a man named 1x1x1x1. But really, 1x1 was a test account made in 2007 by a Roblox employee named Shedletsky. Shedletsky also created some lore for Roblox, which included a statement about 1x1. The first mention of 1x1 was in a Roblox item called the Necrobloxicon. In the description of the item it reads, "And there came into this world a great darkness, a being of pure hatred with the name of 1x1x1x1, or in later ages, simply the adversary. 1x1 is an entity from the 4th dimension who loathes Robloxia for its 3D-ness and has vowed to destroy it. 1x1 was imprisoned by 2x2 at the dawn of time. Yet there are those who seek to free him." From then on, many accounts and videos would pop up regarding 1x1, claiming him to be a hacker. It wouldn't be until a few years later in 2011, where a user known as Mr. Doombringer would post a statement in a forum debunking this whole 1x1 myth. "I posted this link in a thread that subsequently died. I'm posting it here so you can refer back to it later. Keep the link to this forum, distribute it. Tell the people the truth, because the truth is actually quite boring." Let's talk about where the name comes from. Long ago, Telemon posted a number of stories about Roblox's backstory to the news. One of these included mentions of 2x2, the first brick, copied over and over. Every other brick were its descendants. Then in a footnote, he mentions the evil 1x1x1x1. So that's where the name comes from. Blame John. Let's talk about why people say he's a hacker. A guy whose name is long forgotten found an exploit, not cheat engine, to insert control scripts into online places. He sent me a message telling me he had something to demonstrate. I joined him in Crossroads, and it started rating heads saying things along the lines of he's coming back, and 1x1 is coming for you, and the likes. People in the server freaked out. I found it hilarious. He gave me instructions on how it works, and I reported it to the devs. End of story. Other people, like Dignity, would find other ways to insert scripts, and people would assume that they have something to do with the hacker group 1x1x1. Truth is, it was one guy playing off a Roblox lore thing. Get over it, it's that boring. That didn't stop Roblox users from believing the myth, as videos regarding 1x1 still appeared afterwards. But those are definitely imposters. Roblox has also turned the 1x1 myth into a mascot of sorts, changing his appearance to be more evil looking while also using him in merchandise and events. 1x1 was someone I'd always hear about from one of my friends who was super into Roblox. I started playing Roblox a little bit after 1x1's existence was debunked, so I don't really have any personal attachment to this myth, but these next two, I definitely have stories to tell about them. Back in the old days of Roblox, people could choose to play as a guest rather than make an account. These guests couldn't customize their avatars and also weren't able to speak, and their names were randomly generated, appearing as guest and then a randomly generated number starting from 0 to 9,999. With the introduction of guests, also came with it Guest 666. There were other guest creepypastas like Guest 0, but Guest 666 is really the one that frightened people. Stories of Guest 666 go as far back as 2008, which is the year where guests were introduced. Many of the accounts that witnessed Guest 666 would detail that he would speak unlike the other guests, and also had access to exploits that could ruin the game. In 2017, a Roblox YouTuber named Oblivious HD would make a series of videos revolving around Guest 666, popularizing the myth while also giving Guest 666 the rendition of having a dark appearance and red eyes. Anyone could encounter a guest named Guest 666, and I say that because I encountered a guest named Guest 666 in a family role-playing game. Why I was playing that? Don't ask. But of course, this myth was fake. One thing, Guest 666 is a pretty corny name for an urban legend like this. And like I said before, anyone could have the name. Another thing was that guests got discontinued in 2017, which pretty much killed off this myth and any guest-related myths. Now the last myth I'll talk about is the one that terrified me the most out of all of these myths. John Doe and Jane Doe were official Roblox test accounts created by the Roblox CEOs David Baszucki and Eric Cassell. Their account join dates are listed as February 27, 2006, but the real date they were created is June 25, 2005. That made them the second and third accounts to ever join Roblox. John Doe is usually referred to an anonymous male, while Jane Doe is referred to an anonymous female. For the longest time, the last time either of these accounts were online was in 2006, yet the accounts were somehow able to possess user badges and accept friend requests much later. Because of the mysterious aura these accounts had, they were the subject of speculation and rumors. It was in 2017 where multiple Roblox YouTubers would make videos on the two, spreading the rumor that they were going to hack Roblox on March 18, 2017. I was born after Y2K, and I was too young to process 2012, so this was my doomsday event. It's like that anime trope where a villain is finally going to wake up from its slumber to cause havoc. I was anticipating the day the hacking event would happen, and on the actual day of the rumor, I decided not to play the game at all. I didn't want to lose my account that I'd spent hours playing Assassin in, plus I spent a pretty penny on buying Robux. Some YouTubers decided to take the risk and play Roblox on March 18th, and well...
And everyone thinks that Roblox today is going to have something weird happen to it. It's not. It's all rumor. I feel like everybody should be going nuts right now. Everybody should be running around knocking shit over, like...
There were also plenty of Roblox games taking advantage of the situation, having John Doe in the thumbnail and title in order to gain more visits. Suffice to say, these rumors were indeed fake. Roblox would come out 3 days later with an article to squash any of the rumors and also explain more of the backstory behind the two accounts. For all intents and purposes, both accounts are owned and maintained by Roblox. They cannot be used in any way to access or ban other players' accounts, and they're positively harmless. We promise they're friendly. You may even see John or Jane Doe popping into a game sometime to say hello and wish everyone well, clarifying John Doe, Jane Doe's friends, followers, and badges. A few years ago, we observed that some players could add John Doe and Jane Doe to their friends and followers lists on Roblox, or reward these test accounts with badges. We have since disabled this ability. In the following weeks, We will be clearing out both accounts from any friends or badges that were added involuntarily, and John Doe and Jane Doe will also be outfitted with a new set of Roblox branded clothes. We're dedicated to building a fun, safe environment where kids of all ages can power their imagination on Roblox. We hope that this blog post helps put an end to the misconceptions about John Doe and Jane Doe, and that it alleviates any concerns or worries. Consider this myth busted. All of these rumors are way too comical to be real, but when I was a lot younger, these myths induced a kind of trauma in me, and I can assume many of you guys feel the same way. Despite all that, it's just fun to look back at these myths and laugh at all the things that used to scare us. There are probably more and more myths that plagued these games, and many other games as well. Some of you guys might be thinking of a certain white-eyed figure. I mainly stuck to a theme of online virtual worlds, and all of these myths were ones I had personal experience with. But hey, if you want me to cover even more myths, comment down below. Also, check out my friends JJ and Help Gauge. They were pretty much the first friends I made on YouTube, and all three of us make similar content. Take care of yourselves, and as usual, please have yourselves a damn good one.